Tonight on CTV News, a $30,000 reward is offered to find a missing woman. Climate change concerns continues to be a hot topic, and the bright lights shine at night at the Christchurch Botanic Gardens.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. A $30,000 reward's being offered in the 6-year cold case. It's hoped the cash incentive will prompt new information about the disappearance of Yong Suk Chung. 47 years old at the time, the mother of two went missing from the Aidensfield suburb of Christchurch in 2009. On the day of her disappearance, she told her family in an email she was going to Auckland for a break. Nobody has seen or heard from her since. Yong Suk Chung held both New Zealand and South Korean passports. Neither have been used to travel in or out of the country. Anyone with information is asked to contact Christchurch Police. From one side of the world to another, two Canterbury University graduates are preparing themselves for one of the biggest international talks taking place between global leaders right now. Jared McCulloch has this story.
It's a topic that's been debated for many years, the effects of climate change from here and around the world. And now two local Cantabrians have been selected to travel to Paris to talk about it more in depth. The United Nations are holding a worldwide negotiations talk on climate change to help people understand what is really happening around the world. And Natalie Jones is one of the delegates who has been selected to take part in the talks, speaking to me via Skype from Mexico.
This year the opportunity came up to go with the New Zealand youth delegation, and they were recruiting a team from all around the country. And so I applied and had an interview, and I was really lucky to get selected. She finished studying at Canterbury University back in 2012, and since then has focused on a passion of hers, finding ways to combat climate change. Jones is currently working in Mexico as a legal intern at one of the country's environmental associations. But it was at university where her interest in climate change came about. I know I've been aware of climate change as a problem. I mean, since I was a child, it's just one of those things that's always been on the news, on people's minds. I was studying climatology and how the atmosphere works and approaching it from that perspective as well. And it was becoming clearer and clearer to me that climate change is a really massive problem that is going to profoundly affect my future and the futures of people my age.
She says it's something people are told a lot about but don't fully understand. But when the conference kicks off later in the year, she's hoping to send back information via the internet, through social media and their website to keep people here in New Zealand informed.
It's a really crazy world in the UN, and we want to make sure that ordinary New Zealanders know what's going on, because even in the news sometimes it can be really hard to know.
The conference has been running for over 20 years, with it being made up of nearly 200 governments working together under the Conference of Parties, also known as COP, to make decisions and goals to tackle the growing problem. Jones believes New Zealand has a role to play and says she's continuing to learn new information as time goes on.
It's one of those things that, because the issues involved are so scientific often and also very political, it's actually quite hard to know what's going on, and until you actually look into it a lot and do a lot of research, I mean, I'm still discovering new things. I mean, from time to time, it's just such a massive area.
She was chosen along with 8 others from right here in New Zealand, and joining her is another local graduate. And she says she's looking forward to it.
It's fantastic to have 2 Cantabrians on board, because the rest of the team are living in Auckland or Wellington, so it's great to have 2 to represent the South Island.
Jones is set to jet off to Paris later this year, with the talks kicking off at the end of November. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And the youth delegation says New Zealand needs to do more to address climate change, saying the government's goal to reduce carbon by 30% needs to be more like 70% by 2050. To the day's other news, the mother of a 5-year-old autistic boy who died from serious head injuries has been charged at the Christchurch District Court today. 37-year-old Emma Fleming Roberts was charged with failing to get medical treatment for her son, Michael J. Cole Roberts. The Roberts has been charged and remanded on bail without plea and will appear again in the District Court in August. Meanwhile, 34-year-old stepfather of the boy, James Roberts, was also charged with his murder and is due for a pre-trial at the High Court on on September the 11th. Jared Cole was admitted to Christchurch Hospital on May the 27th and died soon after. Well, it's been just over a month since the Christchurch City Council launched the Snap, Send and Solve mobile app, designed as an alternative option to send in issues to the Christchurch City Council. But has the council been able to solve those problems? Here's Jared McCulloch.
It's being classed as a success. The council says they're delighted with their new piece of technology designed to help solve a number of everyday problems the public has around the city.
Really good. We've had over 650 responses for June and it's been really positive.
The Christchurch City Council launched the mobile app just over a month ago, with residents being able to report council-related issues from the palm of their hand. It's the first local government in the country to use the smartphone application for the public to report any problems from graffiti to potholes in a matter of seconds. And Dana believes it's a step forward for the council, working to move into the digital age.
We're quite surprised about how people have taken up and used the technology, but it's a really positive thing for us. I think that we're finally out there and being in the space using the technology that people are using.
The app costs around $11,000 to run annually, with the council working hard over the last 7 months to get the application up and running. It uses your GPS location settings on your mobile phone to track the exact spot where the incident is, making it easier for the council to find and solve. And she says the main concern people have are around roads.
There's nothing outstanding when we've gone, that's a little bit different to what we normally receive. They're mainly, glass on roads or road fixes, and a lot of our requests for services are roading.
Since its launch, over 670 incidents have been snapped and sent in by concerned Christchurch residents, varying from roading right down to waste and stormwater systems. Issues with streets around the city was noted as being just over half of the problems sent in, while graffiti, rubbish and recycling were next in line. But Dana says the numbers are not surprising.
Not really, no. And it's obviously the roading is a key thing. It's something people use every day. And graffiti, we're really pleased about that. It gives us an opportunity to obviously get out there and manage that a little bit better too.
Nearly 2 weeks ago at a council chamber meeting, some councillors were concerned about the process, from when the photo is sent to when it gets solved.
If you've got people using it and people are not getting that follow-up, they'll give it away.
But Dana believes they haven't encountered any problems with communication towards those sending in snaps.
It follows our normal process for requests for service. So if you do put in your name and address on the app and you put in an email address, we will email you back within 48 hours to say we've received your request and this is the course of action that's been taken, and you may get a number that you can then follow up with us on that.
And the council's chief executive says they're looking to find a better way to get back to the public with their issue.
Quite a lot of our calls to call centres are rework, where people have put in a concern or complaint and then we're spending time phoning them back. So we need to find an electronic way to be able to do that.
However, Dana says the app is continuing to grow and is encouraging residents to download it.
It's really pleasant. Christchurch people are using the app. Please keep doing so. It gives us really accurate data and makes it easier for us to respond to you.
The app is available on both Apple and Android devices. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And some breaking news for you tonight. Very sad news to report. There's been a fatal crash in Kaikoura. Police, fire and ambulance are in attendance at the fatal vehicle crash on State Highway 1 near Clarence, north of Kaikoura. The collision occurred just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. The road remains closed. Police have now confirmed that one person has died at the scene and a second person is in a serious condition. Traffic is expected to be banked up for many kilometres. The serious crash unit is en route, so do avoid that area. One person dead just near Kaikoura. Well, still to come here on CTV News, parking headaches for the council and the Botanic Gardens gets an illuminated makeover. Welcome back to CTV News. An early morning police raid of a Christchurch house has resulted in the discovery of a bunch of women's panties. Police have been investigating 3 properties after a serial panty thief allegedly stole from residents' washing lines in the suburb of Burwood. Police say the Bloomer burglar nicked dozens of underwear from the washing lines, while others appear to have been taken from inside people's homes. Investigations led to the search of a property in the area earlier this morning, but no arrests have been made, but investigations are continuing. Parking continues to be a headache for the Christchurch City Council, with community board members refusing to take their foot off the pedal towards more parking in an industrial part of Christchurch. Here's Chelsea Daniels.
Off-street parking in Middleton was a hot topic in this morning's council meeting, with the mayor unwilling to budge. The Spraydon, Heathcote and Riccarton Wigram community boards approached the council wanting something done. The Annex Birmingham Rights route upgrade project sees to manage the increased traffic along the route. However, the plans for both projects slashes on street parking by 60% under the 3-year planned capital program. Since the earthquakes, many office space businesses have relocated to the area, and they say the original on-site parking are no longer sufficient to cater for staff. But Leanne wasn't too pleased that the issue wasn't submitted with other concerns throughout the long-term plan hearings.
We're asking people to make serious priority decisions over the next few months over what we can spend and not spend, because we have got financial challenges, and to put more money on our capital program budget that wasn't even raised in the context of our LTP, which for goodness sake was only passed a week or so ago. That's the challenge that we've got.
She says that they need to understand the city has priorities and they need to be carefully reviewed.
What we have committed to do, which is completely review our capital program from start to finish. That means that you join the queue with everyone else and you look at the project compared to all other projects.
Yes.
And we are going to do a very in-depth analysis of this. We have undertaken to do so. There is a lot on the line and we need to get it right.
A majority of councillors agreed to spend just over $27,000 to provide 26 street parks on the west side of Magdala Place. However, they want more time and consideration spent on the west side parking, which calls for a considerably higher sum of just over $300,000 for just 33 parks. Councillor Tim Scandrett says other areas of the city have had money thrown at it in a similar fashion, but it's not the right approach.
We've had huge problems and issues with parking in Addington, and we've spent a lot of time on that, and obviously council money, staff time, etc. And personally, I don't think it's actually come to the right solution, but that's really affected that community very badly.
What I'm saying is that personally I'm prepared to support the staff recommendation. I'm not prepared to support the greater contribution that's being sought until we've done that review of our program. But I am happy for it to be included in the consideration of the capital program going forward.
The proposal will have to take a back seat for the time being. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
The Commerce Commission says it's happy over the changes the Christchurch International Airport made over its pricing methods. Last year, the Commission looked into the airport's transparency of pricing information after labelling its future profit predictions rather excessive. The Commission, though, says the airport's taken steps to improve the information it discloses. And the Commission Deputy Chair, Sue Begg, says it's made it easier for stakeholders to assess its performance. She says the airport has also committed to addressing remaining concerns over the next pricing reset. Now here's a story to brighten up your day or possibly even your night. A captivating light experience like no other is taking place over the next few days in our very own world-class botanical gardens. Jared McCulloch takes a look.
The wet weather didn't stop people from Christchurch taking a stroll around this bright light adventure. As part of Kids Fest, the Christchurch City Council are putting on a 5-night showing at the Botanic Gardens, brightening up the night with lights.
We've opened the gardens up, put light displays right throughout the gardens for people to come and enjoy, and they're dotted up from the entrance of Rolleston Ave and the Armour Street car park that's accessed through Riccarton Ave at the moment.
The light show takes you on a journey around the Botanic Gardens with a sea of light bursting at every bend. Organisers are hoping for a turnout of close to 5,000 every night, with Hawker saying this year's event has been focused around bringing more to the people.
We've tried for variety this time around, and so there's laser lights, there's animation on the walls, there's projection, which is really cool.
A large number of contractors and event staff have worked hard over the last few weeks to make the Christchurch Botanic Gardens come to life. The displays use the latest in lighting technology to make the garden glow with a stream of colour. Put together by award-winning garden designers, Night of Delight sees a large showcase, a pond filled with laser lights shining across the waters, an interactive wall that reacts to people's movements, and there's even a talking tree stump as well.
Nice to see you here.
Oh, nice to see you too. Something Hawker says will captivate people of all ages, and he says it's becoming more popular than ever.
We did it 2 years ago and we got over 20,000 people through. It's an opportunity to see the gardens in a different light. Not only the lights on display, but the trees, the plants, everything looks slightly different in darkness, and the gardens is quite dark. You don't get a lot of spillage from street lights, so you can be in areas that are almost completely dark. So it's an opportunity to experience a different view of the gardens.
And he says a lot of planning goes into something as big as this.
We throw around ideas, any ideas accepted, and then we sort of weed through them and work out what's possible, what's plausible, and then we bring in some of the contractors to come in with their ideas, because we know they've got clever things to do.
And the end result is a captivating experience. The event will be open, rain, hail or shine, and Hawker says it's all thanks to the help of modern technology.
It's moved on so fast now, a lot of LEDs, so there's a lot of things people can buy off the shelf now that give impressive effects even in a home garden. So yeah, it's moved on so much.
There will also be a gold coin donation set up, collecting money to help create a children's garden, a project that will hopefully start up soon. But for now, it's a time to enjoy the lights on a cold winter's night, with the event continuing this evening for 3 hours from 5:30 p.m. and will wrap up on Sunday night. What a sight. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Very nice. And still to come here on CTV News, what's happening in the world of business. Warren Head is back from headliners.co.nz and the all-important weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. Just to remind you of our breaking news tonight, there's been a fatal crash in Kaikoura. Police, fire and ambulance are in attendance of a fatal smash on State Highway 1 near Clarence, north of Kaikoura. Traffic is banking up for kilometres on both lanes. If you are heading to Kaikoura tonight, please try and bear in mind you might be waiting quite a long time. The serious crash unit is investigating and no further details are being released until the next of kin have been notified. So just repeating that, one person has been confirmed dead at that horrific crash near Kaikoura. Well, here's Warren Head now with this week's Business Roundup.
I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. I don't know how many folks at home have got shares on the Chinese stock market, but if you have, you're probably a little bit worried tonight. Things seem to be coming off the boil in that country. That market has come down about 30% in the last few weeks. It soared over the past year. Ridiculous prices were set, and what goes up comes down ultimately if it gets too crazy. And it did, with a big thump. What the Chinese government have done since, of course, is step in and put a freeze on share trading for about 6 months. A lot of companies are on trading halts, etc. And why should we be concerned at all? Well, there's actually no direct connection with this whatsoever. So any fear that should come out of this should be fairly limited to that market, except that the commodities market has, of course, come off at the same time. The Australians are concerned about the state of their iron ore markets there, so that affects Australia. That does affect us. And of course, it just puts a little bit more of a banana skin under our own precious product, milk, and where that goes next. So just something to watch there. The Greeks got away with it, didn't they? They had a referendum. They said no overwhelmingly to more austerity for more help, and pushed back hard. They then started to run out of money. The ATM started to dry up. Things didn't look so good. Food queues were starting to form. So I guess that's alerted everybody to what happens if you shove your thumb in the wrong place at somebody too big. Now, what's going to happen here, of course, is they will get some sort of a bailout. They've gone for a 3-year bailout program. They're promising to do more. They've always promised that, so that's just a holding situation, but they now seem to be less hostile towards some help from Europe. That happens when you get a food queue and when the lights start to go out. Back here at home, our lights are very much on. This economy is still sitting in a good space despite things slowing offshore. And downtown, we're about to get another injection, another program starting, the Town Hall restoration, $127.5 million this project, finished by 2018. The company doing it will be Hawkins Construction, well experienced with Christchurch, quite a big team here, very respected national company, so they'll do a great job, I'm sure, in turning around the old asset on the riverbank there. What might take a little bit longer to turn around is the next set of relationships between the City Council and the Crown. The Crown coming out with a program called Regenerate Christchurch, and the Council here wondering about where their project development Christchurch sits in with all of this. To be honest, I can't tell you. I'm not quite sure. We do seem to do a lot of things in duplication, and it's about time the government started to take its hand off a little bit more and trust the Council, isn't it? I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
And now time for the region's weather forecast.
Kia ora Canterbury. Well, that snow hit some places today, Darfield, Oxford and Hanmer Springs to name a few, but let's take a look at today's highs. Twizel 5 degrees, Waimata and Timaru 7 degrees for both of you. Looking to central Canterbury, 7 degrees for Christchurch, Akaroa and Leeson with sleety showers here. Darfield on 5 along with Methven and 6 degrees for Ashburton. Let's take a look at further north now. Kaikoura, 6 degrees for you, Cheviot and Rangiora, sleety showers as well. Amberley a little bit warmer on 7 degrees, Hanmer Springs 3 degrees and Oxford 4 for you, and snow there as well. Over to the Alpine region, 3 degrees for Arthur's Pass and snow here for you too. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather for the major centres. Timaru, sun is out for tomorrow's weather. 10 degrees is your high and light winds tomorrow as well. Looking to Ashburton now. Cloud clearing in the morning for Ashburton with southwesterlies also easing. 9 is your high but -4 overnight. Let's take a look at the Garden City. Southwesterlies easing for Christchurch as well. Rain in the morning but that should be clearing by the afternoon. Over to Kaikoura. The rain and the snow flurries are supposed to clear by the afternoon but it's still quite cold and southwesterlies there too. Let's take a look at other areas. Twizel on 5 degrees, a little bit warmer for Waimate on 9 there and sunshine for South Canterbury. To central Canterbury now, sunshine for Akaroa and Leeson on 8 degrees, a little bit of rain for Darfield on 6 and on Methven 7 degrees for you. Looking further north now, 7 degrees for Cheviot and Amberley here with southwesterly winds easing for both of you, -6 for your low in Oxford though, pretty chilly. And over to the Alpine region, -10 for Lake Tekapo, wrap up warm for that one. Let's take a look at the upcoming days. Saturday, quite a sunny day for Saturday and light winds coming through, 10 degrees for Timaru and Ashburton. As we flip over to Sunday, we're seeing a very similar picture here with the sun coming out, light winds, but we are seeing these minuses again, making for quite a frosty weekend. Taking a look at other areas for the upcoming days, we're seeing a similar picture with the sun coming out. This is because we're seeing a high pressure system move in, bringing these light winds and severe frosts. They should be particularly bad for inland places, so we need to make sure we watch out for those on the roads. Go slow if you have to, make sure you're keeping safe. As we can see over the next coming days, the rain and the snow is set to ease and that high pressure system is coming through. For now though, that's your weather update for Thursday.
Thanks, Mercy. The weather's certainly getting better, that's for sure. Before we go tonight, the Power Panel returns for your Friday on News Talk ZB, where former ECAN councillor Joe Kane is my guest and housing expert Hugh Pavlich will debate the issues, many issues to discuss, that's for sure, from this week. But from me and all of us here at CTV News, have a warm evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.